don't know what this triangle's gonna look like. But we can calculate the sine of this angle. And then, because it's a nice angle, all of these are angles that we know, then we can calculate the inverse sine going back to what's the angle in the place where I'm allowed to find the angle. So let's do one so that that makes a little more sense than what I just said. So sine inverse of the sine of negative 5 pi over 6. All right. So we start in the middle. What's the sine of negative 5 pi over 6? Well, let's go through and figure out where we are. Where are we with negative 5 pi over 6? Which way do we go? Clockwise. So we're going this way. How far do we go?
Keep going.
Not quite to here?
Oh, not quite to there.
Not quite to there? Okay, so approximately right there.
Right.
So that's my negative 5 pi over 6. Gotta make sure you see my thumb, so you know that's the way I went. I never dealt with numbers like this, right? Instead, I always needed to have my numbers between 0 and 2 pi. So how do I take this and move it to an angle that is the same place? So still, this is its terminal side, but it's between 0 and 2 pi. Remember finding coterminal angles?
You gotta add 2 pi.
So I add 2 pi. I take my negative 5 pi over 6. I add 2 pi. So that's negative 5 pi over 6 plus 12 pi over 6, which gives me 7 pi over 6. That's the angle that's coterminal. So I would have gotten there going this way. This way is the 7 pi over 6 way. But then what do I do? Once I get my angle between 0 and 2 pi, what do I do next? That's where the reference angle comes in. So I calculate my reference angle.
They show us on the test.
No, I'm expecting you to do most of this in your head at that point. But since you guys can't read, I mean, this is one of those things, you can read my mind, so you can't see that I thought all of this, so this is why we're going through it. So those of you who aren't to the point where you're going, yeah, I know that's, the reference angle is pi over 6, and the pi over 6, sine of pi over 6 is blah. That's why we're working through it. So the reference angle in quadrant 3, how do I find them? The angle minus pi, so I take my 7 pi over 6, and I subtract pi. That will be 7 pi over 6 minus 6 pi over 6, which gives me a reference angle of pi over 6.
Oh, because it's in quadrant 3 where the
Because
angle?
it's in quadrant 3 where the terminal side is.
Oh, okay.
Pi over 6, I need to worry about the sine of pi over 6. That'll give me the basic value for my sine of negative 5 pi over 6. What is the sine of pi over 6? One half.
Oh.
That one you should know. Now, since this angle is in quadrant 3, would that be positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative, because my sine and my cosine are both negative in quadrant 3. So that's this part right here. The inside, I know, is negative 1/2. So now let's get to the sine inverse part. So now, to finish the problem, sine inverse of negative 1/2, what was the question that I was asked for this one? What question do I ask myself to figure out what this is? This is asking for an angle, right? Yes.
Yeah, it's asking for an angle and radian.
What angle
7
is,
pi over 6.
No, it's pi over 6.
what angle between, where can my angle come out when I'm talking about sine inverse? Negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, inclusive, has a sine value of negative 1/2. I've heard a lot of people say pi over 6, and you're close, but not quite. Negative pi over 6. Remember, this is quadrant 1 and quadrants 1 and 4. 1 in the positive direction, 4 in the negative direction. And in order to get a negative sign value, you have to work your way into the negative direction.
But how do you find that algebraically, sine negative 1 of the,
You shouldn't, that's not an algebra, that should be something you have memorized.
oh my gosh.
Your basic sign values. you should have
Why did you
memorized.
do the whole rough thing?
Because I needed the sign value of this.
I don't have those
Did we
memorized.
find out with the negative 5
I have to write them over and over again.